don't know about you, but every time we get to a new year, I am filled with hope about things that can go on in the new year. I'm excited. I'm filled with anticipation. To me, the start of a new year is kind of like wiping the slate clean from that year that just passed, and it's a chance to start over totally fresh. All too often, it seems like we get to the end of a year and we reflect back and we realize that we've still got the same problems and issues and frustrations and habits and all of those things that may have frustrated us in the previous year, that we've still got them, that nothing changed. We all too often realize that we've still got the same things that we've always had. Here's something that I have learned. If we want something new at the end of a year, if we want to be able to look back and reflect and see that something changed, then the first step for us is to get really clear about what is it that we want to change. I've heard a saying that we generally don't land someplace wonderful without knowing what the destination is. As a person with a chronic health condition, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of legacy and thinking about what is it I want to leave behind for others after I'm gone, because those are the things I want to work on during this year and then want to get to the end of the year and be able to look back and realize I did take some steps towards that legacy that I want to leave. The idea of leaving a legacy is frequently more motivating to people than just the idea of setting resolutions or setting goals or determining projects or thinking about the things that you want to do and experience during the course of a new year. But that doesn't mean that it's worthless to focus on the projects we want to achieve, the goals we want to set, and the things we want to do. Those things are still worthwhile. It doesn't mean to determine what habits and things that you would like to change about yourself in the coming year. And it doesn't mean to just totally give up on things that you have wanted to achieve. That's not what legacy is all about. Because I would argue that our habits and our projects and our goals and the things that we achieve comprise our legacy. They're part of it, a big part, but perhaps not always in the way that we might immediately think about. In order to achieve anything, or to change anything, or to experience new and positive things, we have to be willing to do some self-examination. We have to be willing to get focused, and we have to be intentional about our actions. Because all of those things, one way or another, impact other people. Now, whether we really want to admit it or not, all of us serve as a role model to somebody else. Somebody somewhere is looking at your actions, and you will hopefully inspire, but you will be a role model to that other person. The truth is, we are not the only ones who were impacted by the life that we live. For me personally, the concept of intentionality is very important. That's something that I want to model, that I want to live and experience, and that I want to leave behind as an example for others. And that's not because I think I've got any great wisdom or insight on the concept of intentionality, because goodness knows I don't. The reason is because I believe that intentionality is probably the key to our happiness, to our peace of mind, to our contentment, and probably ultimately even to our success. Now, that's just my take as I look at the year stretched out before me. But as we're all looking at here at the beginning of 2025, or any new year, as we're looking at the year laid out before us and thinking about all those possibilities and those options and all those things that might can happen for us, I think it's important for all of us to think about what do we want to reflect back on at the end of the year. Because only by knowing, Stephen Covey says you begin with the end in mind. And for us to reach the end of a year and be able to reflect and be happy with that reflection, we need to have had an idea of what it is we wanted to feel and what we wanted to achieve and what we wanted to leave behind. Yes, that's important at the end of the year. So I would encourage all of us, whether you make goals or whether you make resolutions or whether you don't believe in any of that, I would still encourage all of us to spend a little time to think about what we want to leave behind and how we want to feel at the end of this coming year. At the end of the year, I think it's important for us to examine what we're proud of, to think back about the things that we experienced, to look at changes that we made, hopefully positive ones, during the course of the year, and most importantly, be able to think about what impact did we make with our life and our actions and the things that we did during the course of the year. By doing this, we can all create a much more satisfying end of the year reflection period than if we do not sit down and think about the road ahead. By thinking about the legacy that we want to leave behind when we're gone, and goodness knows for all of us that time will be coming one day, but by thinking about the legacy that we want to leave behind, we can be more intentional in taking steps towards making that reality. So here is wishing that you have a good year going forward, working on and building that legacy that you want to leave behind.